Hello. The issue I will be discussing involves communicating the need for irregular, flexible scheduling to upper management. With more and more jobs using synchronous and asynchronous forms of mediated technology, the days of having to be in a physical location at a set time are surreptitiously becoming an antiquated concept. Many jobs, including my own, are still utilizing outdated forms of scheduling, and these working expectations are not in congruence with the times we live in. This topic is worth exploring because job satisfaction at my company is at an all-time low. Many of my coworkers are mentally fatigued due to the unnecessary burdens involved with traveling to and from the office to do work we can just as easily do from the comfort of our home. Not only does travel time add up, but my job encourages us to work late. So being at the office for 10 hours with another 30 minutes of traveling to and from work is becoming more and more disheartening. Through scholarly journals, data from research articles, and communicative theories such as Boyle's administrative theory, Fielder's contingency theory, McGregor's theory X and theory Y, I will seek to answer the question, how can the need for irregular/flexible scheduling be communicated to the people in charge and become the new standard for jobs that use mediated technology to operate? To change the perception of how work has been done in my company for decades, I will need to communicate the following points to my managers. The first point is that allowing employees to work from home will increase job satisfaction and therefore lessen the turnover rate. The second point is that by allowing scheduling flexibility, employee efficiency, engagement, and ambition will not deteriorate. The third point that will need to be made is that informal communication will still be strong, despite most of the work being done via mediated technology. The final point I will make is the need for work-life balance and how it relates to management style and norms. To show that implementation of a flexible schedule will increase job satisfaction and decrease employee turnover, I must first show the benefits of what the article titled "The Future of Flexibility at Work" calls true flexibility. In this article, the authors consider boundaryless work versus accommodation. Boundaryless work occurs when management becomes more comfortable with flexibility, whereas accommodation is permission-based one-off request. Accommodation is the current status quo of my company, which is in line with the findings in Foyle's administrative theory. Foyle's administrative theory focuses on a strong managerial presence, one-way communication from the top to the bottom, and the lack of horizontal communication within a company. By finding a balance that offers true flexibility, both the employees and the managers can agree on a schedule that satisfies both parties. True flexibility occurs when the interests of employees and employers are aligned and the horizontal communication begins to take form. By shifting to a more of a boundaryless working environment instead of one based off of accommodation and managerial dictatorship, employees will be more engaged, creative, and loyal to the company that they work for, what they do. One of the main concerns my management team has is that if they allow scheduling flexibility, employee efficiency, engagement, and ambition will deteriorate. This can be avoided with the correct implementation of technology and subjective norms. By creating an environment that cultivates growth, ambition, and efficiency, a company's social norms will have the most influence on an employee's behavior, not where its employees are working from. The easier the technology is to implement, the more likely employees will be at successfully adapting to the change in work setting. By implementing remote technology in a way that is user-friendly and by using social influence to promote norms conducive to growth, the paradigm shift necessary for a transition to a hybrid schedule can occur. With the grapevine effect of informal communication being the lifeline of a company, one of my current company's worries is that a flexible schedule will disrupt informal communication. The importance of informal communication is well documented, and the lack thereof can lead to the untimely spreading of information, a decrease in social bonding, and a decline in organizational functioning. Although remote informal communication is considerably less spontaneous than in-person informal communication, informal communication still occurs in remote settings and offers similar organizational benefits. In the scholarly journal Enabling and Constraining Factors of Remote Informal Communication, the authors discuss ways to successfully incorporate informal communication into a remote work setting so that it can be as beneficial to the organization as in-person informal communication. The first suggestion is that informal communication should be promoted so that employees understand the benefits to the organization. The new norms should be discussed openly with employees so everyone understands why they are important. The second suggestion is that aligning synchronicity with task requirements and establishing healthy availability norms to reduce perceived workload. This includes daily meetings to make sure everyone is aware of the current goals and challenges, extra time before virtual meetings for coworkers to communicate informally, and virtual coffee breaks with the cameras on so social cues are not missed. Fielder's contingency theory discusses a manager's ability to exert influence. For the policies of my job to change, communicating the need for family supportive leadership will be paramount to the action's success. In the article, How Family Supportive Leadership Communication Enhances the Creativity of Work from Home Employees, the authors state that managerial support will increase both creativity and employee morale while decreasing burnout and employee turnover. This change in thinking is important to establish new norms that promote work-life balance and emphasize employee interdependence. McGregor's Theory X and Theory Y discusses two different management styles. Theory X believes employees are inherently lazy and that money is the main motivator, whereas Theory Y believes employees are self-motivated and able to do what needs to be done without guidance. My company operates under the premise of Theory X and believes that by providing scheduling flexibility, efficiency will decrease due to the lack of control. To help combat this type of thinking, the first thing I will need to do is to communicate to management is that flexibility is becoming just as important to employees as pay. In a recent BBC article, the authors reference a study of over 9,000 UK workers that showed 63% of them prefer work-life balance over better pay. The second point is that without the full support from management and faith in their employees' ability to do the job without micromanaging, flexible scheduling would be an uphill battle from the beginning. To offset potential complications, managers can utilize a social exchange theory. This theory describes the importance of building social exchange relationships with employees so they feel more motivated to go the extra mile. This will allow for the managerial style of Theory Y to be more customary, and organizations can use this premise of this theory to their advantage. In conclusion, by using Foyle's administrative theory, Fielder's contingency theory, and McGregor's Theory X and Theory Y, the answer to the question, how can the need for irregular, flexible scheduling be communicated to the people in charge and become the new standard for jobs that use mediated technology to operate, can be successfully addressed. By establishing norms that reflect the business mission statement, encouraging remote informal communication, and providing employees with the technological tools to succeed, the transition to flexible scheduling can be a positive change that benefits both the employees and the employers. I thank you for your time and have a great rest of your day.